So welcome back to Array Tarot, and we are for the first time going to be doing our moon phase, moon cycle reading. I'm so excited for this. I have only moon, star, cosmic related decks that I'm going to be using. So let's go ahead and get started. So as we start off our section, well, first of all, you're like, what the fuck is this? What does it mean? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the phases of the moon. We're going to look at what signs the moon's in and the phases of what it's going through. Why? Because usually people who are into divination and spell work are typically more inclined to this. They follow the phases of the moon because the moon itself is very important. The story of the moon, the maiden, the mother, and the crone, things like that. But I'll spare those details and simply say it like this. The moon is the closest astral body to us, and so it changes signs very frequently. It changes signs about once every 3 days, and the moon also represents how we deal with other people, our emotions. It is the sign of the mother, so that's really important. And the phases of the moon also represent new periods in our life. So the beginning of the month, especially when you're looking at electional astrology, will signify when it's the best time to start something, as well as when you look at whenever the new moon is in something, that's typically the best time to start something. The full moon is when you want to harvest something, and as it is continued to go on, that's when you begin to complete the things that you have. But basically, let's just see what's coming up for you, at least this week, give you a little bit of that flavor. So when this video is dropping, the moon is most likely going to be in, I'm looking at the computer, it's most likely going to be in Pisces, and it's going to be a waxing crescent. And so what waxing means growing, something that is growing. And what crescent is that little that little slither, that little crescent. And the reason why that's important is because the waxing crescent comes after the new moon. So what does that mean? So the new moon itself is representing when you are supposed to initiate something new, when you are supposed to start something new, when you have this new idea, this new goal. That's the perfect time to do it. That's when you do your spell work, your mantras, your prayer, or whatever your specific lineage has you doing. That's when you do it. But after that, the second phase would be the waxing crescent, because the new moon is nothing, whereas the waxing crescent is slowly growing into the illumination of the full moon. So that waxing crescent means with the new moon starting, that's what you want to do. That's your plan. The waxing crescent indicates that you are growing into that. So now you're going to start taking actions. So in this upcoming week, you're going to see that specifically today, if you're watching when the video drops, there's this feeling of growing and finally being able to be free enough to take actions that you need to take in order to start whatever it is that you had initiated on Wednesday, January 13th, which was that new moon energy. It was a new moon in Capricorn. So it was probably all business, maybe work, maybe career related things, foundational things that you wanted to build and you wanted to grow. And it could even be related to the family, you know, the father, gender neutral, but the masculine energy, providing energy that could come, you know, from all genders. And so here it is, you're going to start taking some actions today. And let me see what other days. You're going to take some actions today and tomorrow on that. Actually, no, you're going to take some actions today, tomorrow, all the way up into Tuesday until you hit the first quarter moon. The first quarter moon, which is happening on Wednesday, January 20th, is going to represent those first opportunities and challenges that show up. So the new moon you made, that was you, okay, this is the plan I want to do. The waxing crescent is saying, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take this initiative. I'm going to do this action. You start the momentum growing. And then the first quarter is really when those opportunities / challenges come up. Let me tell you, an opportunity is nothing but a challenge. A challenge is nothing but an opportunity. So around Wednesday, Thursday, that's when those things are going to pop up. And the more effort that you put into something, the more you are precise in how you approach it. It doesn't mean you're just endlessly just doing things to do things, moving to move things, but you're precise. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this effort and that effort. I'm going to do, you know, the research I need to do, and I'm going to be disciplined and stay consistent. That's when those opportunities start to show up. Now, if you're kind of dragging your feet, being a little bit lazy about it, that's when those challenges start to show up too. And then Friday going on to next weekend, we are going to start to experience the waxing gibbous. So the waxing gibbous comes after the first quarter moon. And so after you get through those initial obstacles slash challenges, the waxing gibbous gives this energy of, well, this is the next stage before the full moon. The full moon is the harvest. The full moon is celebrating the things that you have built all the way up. Whereas the waxing gibbous, waxing meaning grow, and gibbous meaning humpback, because of the way that it's shaped in the moon, is sending you the message that you need to follow through after you've reached over, these obstacles, these challenges. You need to follow through to get to the harvest. You've learned, you've been initiated, you've done everything, you've been tested in every way. So just remember to be consistent. So now to actually get into the cards, I just want to explain it to you because I think it's very important to explain what's going on from a moon and astrological perspective. I know sometimes I'll see people, or it's not a bad thing. I'll see people read for the collective, but not necessarily know what things are for. I'll see people only do planets and never talk about the phases of the moon. I'll see people only do the moon and never talk about the phases of the planets. So I think it's really important to stay connected to what's going on around us. So let's see. Channeling with the universe, because we will always want to ask our energetic helpers, spirit guides, and all of those lovely, lovely energies to be there with us as we are unlocking these messages for this week, and honestly starting off this new period, this new momentum in our lives. Thank you, universe. Thank you, energetic helpers. Thank you all for the highest vibrational good, only to bring us forth these messages of light, love, abundance, manifestation, health, wealth, and happiness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate it. Can you please illuminate on the waxing crescent that's going to be happening today and a couple of days after? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So I pulled a couple of cards, and I will say that the waxing crescent starts well, when you see the video, it will be in Pisces. And then it will go into Aries. So Pisces energy and Aries energy is very different. Aries energy is me, 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 me. What do I want? It's ruled by Mars, where Pisces energy is all about surrender, boundarylessness, ruled by Neptune, traditionally ruled by Jupiter. So it's an expansive, it is about the collective, and Aries is more about me. So your focal point is going to change. It's like going from the macro to the micro. So your first card, Juno, we have this sacred union. So this is sending the message that between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, you're going to be merging that collective consciousness of understanding what's going on, or why do you have the goals that you have, with your actual everyday life, with the everyday people in it. So you're going to bring this collective message, this collective energy, and funnel it down into your lived practical experience. There's so many people who come across me and considering that I am an energy healing practitioner, specifically a Reiki master teacher. I teach other people. I take on clients. I, have these moments with people, as well as intuitive. And they come to me and think that they can just sit and just will things to them and not put any effort into it. And that's crazy to me, because here's the thing, energy is vibrational. So when you set your mind to something, you are changing the vibrational frequency around you. But if you do not get your ass up and go do something to actually start to pull the future you want to you will just be sitting there vibrating at that frequency, and the only thing that will show up is your imagination and your thoughts. And I believe her name is Angela Duckworth, and she wrote this book called Grit. And in it, it was quite fascinating, because she talked about people who are constantly imagining that they're doing what they want, sometimes cause that, meaning like you want to be some famous singer. You're always imagining that you're a famous singer. That is sending the chemicals in your brain to think that, oh, you already have it. So when you go out and have to do vocal lessons, or you have to go out there and make music, your tolerance for discipline is much lower, because you already got those instant endorphins from your imagination, in which things never go wrong. And I thought that was so fascinating, because typically we want to think about, you have to believe it to see it, which is true, but it's two-part. It's you believe it, and then you go do the work to bring it towards you. Because if you don't believe it and you start pulling towards you, you're going to pull any and everything. So you have to have a focused mind. But then on the reverse end, if you're just like, believing in it, not taking any action, I mean, you're not going to go anywhere except for what's in front of you. So a lot of people are afraid of discipline, but let me tell you, discipline makes or breaks your life. Some of the most challenging moments set you up for the foundation in the future that you want to have, that you want to see, that you want to live. So don't ever be nervous about it. Next would be Libra. Leverage your partnerships. It's saying that here. Don't be afraid to go into it, especially on that Monday and Tuesday. It's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and then when you go into that first quarter moon where you have that energy of Aries, where it might be like you might be focused on yourself, but do not forget the partnerships, because that's going to be very important. One-to-one partnerships, the community, the collective, and even your relationship with yourself, because Gemini is the relationship with the self-thoughts, self-criticism, that kind of thing. Self-esteem, whereas Libra is the one-on-one partnership, you and someone else, and Aquarius is the connection to the collective, being a part of the group. And so this is saying, just remember this. And of course, Libra, like Taurus, is ruled by Venus, and Libra is about the aesthetics, things looking beautiful. So that might be a part of the energy that you're feeling, this feeling of wanting to change something so that it is more aesthetically pleasing to you, whatever aesthetic means to you. And then we have Uranus. And so we just referred to this with Aquarius. So the traditional ruler of Aquarius is actually Saturn. So that's why Saturn, I love talking about Saturn. People give Saturn such a hard, kind of just a hard name, you know, hard rep, because Saturn for a long time, before there were these really high powered telescopes, was the farthest planet we could see with the naked eye. And so the planet Saturn was known for discipline. So Capricorn and Aquarius were both assigned that. And there was actually only two planets that only took on one side, and that would be the sun, which is Leo, and the moon, which is the mother. All other planets took on two, like for example, Mercury took on Virgo and Gemini, Venus took on Taurus and Libra, Mars took on Aries and Scorpio. And as more of these planets were discovered, they started to reassign them. So the modern day ruler of Aquarius is Uranus. And the difference is Aquarius is all about really going out and making the statement of who you are and making sure you show up in the space as who you are. And that takes a lot of discipline. That's where that original Saturn energy is. But Uranus is talking about, specifically in this week, it is a moment to really analyze, who do you want to be? It is the revolutionary. It is the shock and awe. It's somebody comes into, you know, the location. And actually, no, I'm not going to say it like that. Look at fashion. They be wearing some weird ass shit. But sometimes people come and they make such a statement that you're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. But some other time you'd be like, that shit looks crazy. That's what Uranus is. It's shock and awe. And it represents Aquarius. So it's saying, don't be afraid to really put yourself out there, especially with it going from that waxing crescent. You're growing into it. You have to put yourself out there, because if you shrink back, as soon as that first quarter moon comes on in January 20th, January 21st, it's going to feel like a challenge more than it feels like an opportunity. And then the first house, which represents Aries. So I don't know if you all understand what house systems are. Let me explain to you. If you ever look at the horoscope is that wheel, and it has like all those different like houses, those little sections in it, and your planets are in it, and it tells you what sign it is. So the planets, you know, are in signs. So your Venus might be in Scorpio or something like that. And then the signs, the planets themselves are also in the houses. It's based off of where the planetary alignment at the moment you were born. So the first house also takes on the characteristic, it's called the natural characteristics of a sign. So the first, it's only 1 through 12. So it's going to be Aries all the way to Pisces. So the first house represents a lot of Aries related things. I know sometimes it can be confusing because it's like a box inside a box inside a box, but really it's not that bad. The first house represents Aries things. So it's the physical appearance. It's how you show up. Your rising sign or your ascendant is whatever sign is in the first house. That's how that came about. And if you know that, your sun sign is, you know, the month and day you were born, and it's who you are. But your rising sign, your ascendant, whatever your first house is in, is how you come off to people when they first meet you. So your appearance, how people would view you. And so this is really confirming a lot of this Monday Tuesday, Wednesday energy, and you're going to go into the first quarter moon still with this first house energy. So it's really going to be centered on you. Now, for medical things, meaning like just health wise, be mindful on Saturday and Sunday for anything that has to do with Pisces related areas, such as the feet, the toes, and the pineal gland in the head. On Monday, Tuesday, and then going through Wednesday, you want to be more mindful of the head, the teeth, the tongue, the arteries, so things like that. So what I mean by that is like if you have a dentist appointment or something like that, being mindful of that. If there's, you know, any type of head injuries, just paying attention to that kind of stuff. And then when you start to get on to Thursday, Friday, which is going to have the moon switching into Taurus, which is still that first quarter, which is still the waxing gibbous, you're going to pay attention to the neck, the vocal cords, the throat, the thyroids, things like that. So you want to make sure that you're not screaming or you're not overusing that, because it's a very sensitive period, but it's also a period of a lot of speech and interpretation and things like that going into Saturday and Sunday of next week, which is Gemini energy, which is the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the bronchial tubes, and the lungs. So if you're doing some straining with the vocal cords, that will eventually lead to the bronchial tubes and the lungs. So be very, very mindful of that, because think about it. When things are in a sign, it gives a hypersensitivity, so you don't have to do as much. When something is in a Piscean energy, you do not have to do a lot of energy or put a lot of energy into releasing the veil and learning a lot from that experience. Whereas if something is in that Capricorn energy, of course, because that's all about the physical boundaries and things like that. So you have to do that, and vice versa, whatever way you want to look at it. So you want to move with the universe and you want to move with the current. You don't want to move against it, because obstacles shouldn't be you're swimming upstream. Obstacles are you're flowing with the current, and you don't want to hit a fucking boulder. You're just trying to go around the boulder. So I'm going to continue to pull out a little bit more. I don't know if y'all can hear this. These motherfuckers are loud. I don't know what they're doing upstairs. Fucking dancing and having a party and shit. You probably can't hear it. And I said I wasn't going to do that. I was like, oh, I hate when people point shit out that I didn't notice. Mars, we have this Mars energy that came up. Very, very important. It is sending the message to assert yourself, to bring forth your talents, your wisdom, especially during this week. Whatever this goal is that you had started on the new moon, let me reference it back. The new moon on January 13th really has a lot to do with assertion. So willpower, desire, fortitude, and rage. Just remember, Mars used to be Aries and Scorpio, and you could definitely see that here, because Aries, if you need a lawyer, you want your lawyer to be an Aries, because they will just go. They won't think, they'll just go. But you kind of want that kind of energy to fight for you. Or, you know, have you ever tried to get in a fight with a Scorpio? Them motherfuckers don't never forget. My rising sign is Scorpio, so I feel it, but they never forget. They will go through a whole out war. Aries in the moment is just like, this made me mad, this made me mad. But you can kind of lure them with candy and exciting experience to flip, you know, how they feel in the moment. Where that Scorpio, you know, they may show up, they may give you the shirt off their back, but they'll never forget. They will never fucking forget. Give one more. I'm going to give one more card, which is the Cancer energy, which is really summing up what we're talking about, which is this moon energy. And again, Cancer is the representation of the moon. So let's go into our actually Moonology deck. I haven't been able to use this in quite a while. I used to love to use it all the time. So thank you, universe, channeling messages from the Moonology deck to bring some clarity of the remaining of the week, which is that first quarter going into the waxing gibbous. Are there things they should pay attention to, things that are coming up? And what about this thing that they started on the new moon? How is it coming? Is there something they should do to help them get through? Connecting with ancestors, spirit guides, and all for the highest vibrational good, energetic helpers. We are so grateful. Please bring these messages in a clear and concise way so that it brings clarity, love, happiness, life, and abundance. Ashe, y'all. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So it says mutable moon. And if you're really into the phases of the moon, I would really recommend getting this deck. You all know that I put the decks in the description box because it really is a fun way to do this oracle channeling, as well as to get that reference of what is happening in the different phases of the moon. So this is nothing is set in stone. So basically, some people get afraid, like, wait, what does that mean? Does that mean that like I can't have what I need, or, you know, it's not going to happen? No, it means that if you want something, you have to make it happen. That's what I was just talking about when people just want to manifest and put zero effort into something. Like, nothing is set in stone because you have to do it. You know, you might need a dentist appointment and you might have health insurance, but just because you need a dentist appointment and you have health insurance doesn't mean it's automatically set up for you. You have to go find the dentist and you have to go set up the appointment. You have to show your ass up. You got to take the 15 minutes before and fill your shit out. Make sure you got everything you need. Go through the, there's just like so many things. So it's saying nothing's set in stone because you have the power. And that's what a lot of people forget. They forget the amount of access and the amount of power that they have. They're waiting for someone to tell them like, yes, on Tuesday, you know, everything's going to come together and this mysterious person is going to show up, or this mysterious gift. No, you are the gift. You create the gift. You manifest the gift. The gift is in your hands and in your control, and you need to step up and accept that. Never relinquish that to someone else or wait for someone else to give you guidance. Then we also have the super moon energy, which is emotions are running high. That's what's going to happen, especially from the beginning of the week, of that Pisces switching into Aries. It's a lot of things going from that water to fire element like that. And then you're going to go through all the elements throughout the week. But just that abrupt energy from today, if you're watching it when it airs, all the way into that Wednesday gives this energy of like, what do I do? What I do? That Mars that we originally pulled. And then we have new moon in Capricorn energy. And I love that. Why? Because our new moon that we are talking about on January 13th was in Capricorn. So that's a lot of validation to what we're talking about right now. So basically it's saying your hard work is paying off. The way that you win at a new moon or make whatever it is that you initiated work is you have to work with the principles of how you started off. So anything Capricorn is going to be about hard work. They say Capricorns love a challenge. Do you ever see like a goat go? They will go to the highest point. You ever see like the goat yoga or something like that, where you're in downward dog, and the goat will jump on the highest point and just stand there with its little legs, or you could see it like hopping across mountains, because it's just instinctually knows how to do that, knows how to scale a very difficult like flat wall. And oftentimes it's said that if a Capricorn does not have a challenge, they will create one because they're highly motivated by challenge. They are highly motivated by challenge. Just like if you look at a Virgo, they're highly motivated by needing to organize something, needing something to be fixed, resolved, things like that. With a Libra, when something is out of place, when it doesn't aesthetically look pleasing, when it's not kind of in its feng shui of things, they are motivated. For a Gemini, when things are not critical in thought. And then the list can go on and on. So how you win at this is you have to work hard at whatever it is you initiated. So I want you to take a couple seconds now to think back to January 13th. What is it that you had initiated? Whatever that thing is, I want you to think, how can you work as hard as possible? And let me keep it real with you. Just because you work hard, sometimes it feels good and like, yeah, man, you want to pat yourself on the back. I did that fucking shit, you know, like you want to do that. But there's other times where you wake up and you're not motivated at all. I would say, you know, do a quick meditation, you know, try to balance your energy in any way, but you got to just push through to the other side. You do not have to kill yourself. You do not have to work yourself to where it's not efficient anymore, but you do have to get past that point, because that's what this first quarter moon teaches us. How do you get back past an obstacle? Because once you figure out how to get past that, you learn a lesson that can be applied to something else. So when you go after something else, you start to outrank people, or you start to discipline people, is I think a better way to put it, because you're resilient. Y'all know, if you're coming from Reiki Healing Hope, I post 5 videos a week. It took a lot of discipline to get me to that point of posting 5 videos a week. And there were times that I had to do it when I was just like, I don't really feel like doing anything today. I want to chill and just like ponder the sky. There were other times where, you know, you like have the sniffles or something, or like, you know, life just happens and things get busy, but it's just like, look, you work hard, and you got to make it happen. And out of respect for when the channel initiated, it initiated in Capricorn season. So that's really a big theme of the channel: safety, self-care, mental health awareness, all of these energetic healing and metaphysical principles, but also, you know, owning your power and just doing the hard work of getting yourself to the other side. And the last card from this one is, look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. And so Sagittarius energy is all about the philosopher. It is all about the macro view. The Sagittarius energy is the energy of, if you look at religion or faith, you could say that Pisces is the faith, is the energy, the veil of the connectedness to energetic whatever. Sagittarius is actually the philosopher who goes in and ponders the universe. That's really the sign of the philosophy. It is the sign of religion as a like institution, not an institution in the way of Capricorn, which is like you bring the hammer down institution, but more of like a philosophical group of thought. And so this is giving you the opportunity to think from the big picture. What do you want? And narrow it down, because this is the analogy I like to use. When you look at something from Scorpio, you could take a leaf. I really thought I was going to find a leaf. You could take am I really about to get my plant? I am. You could take a leaf. This shit is so fucking close. You could take a leaf, right? And when the leaf, well, not this plant, because this is not the type of plant that does this, but in the deciduous area, meaning when leaves change colors, in the fall or the autumn season, the leaves start to change colors and they fall off the tree. So it could be, you could look at it like, oh, you know, the tree is dying, but the tree itself is not dying. The leaves are falling off. They go back to the ground. They recycle that nutrients. And then, you know, the leaves come back again next year. The tree is fine. But during that Scorpio energy, you are looking deeply at the leaves. When you look at this dying leaf, it's the most beautiful thing ever, because it goes from this vibrant green to this vibrant orange, red, or yellow. And then if you step back and look at it, you see all of these beautiful just array of colors, and looking at it, and just even when it's dropping to the ground and disintegrating, it still nourishes the soil, which feeds the cycle all over again. So it lets you know that that transition from its beginning to its end was still one of a cycle that was bigger than it. Whereas you look at things from a macro level, you look at things in a Sagittarius energy, because Sagittarius comes right after Scorpio. There are no more leaves on the trees. The trees are barren. There's little sticks. So instead of you seeing these trees in front of you, you can actually see much, much, much farther away. When there were leaves there, it obstructed the view. But once those leaves are gone, which is typically what happens in Sagittarius season in the northern hemisphere, you can see very, very, very far away. So this gives you a clear vision. Sagittarius energy is also the sign of travel, both mental travel and physical travel, being attracted to different cultures and things like that. So maybe what it is that you want might push you to learn something that is not from your culture or not from your typical norm. And so let's wrap this all up and say, okay, universe, connecting in here and connecting with the energies of the universe, is there anything else you want us to know about this specific moon phase energy? I'm going to let you know that the other planets are pretty stable right now. What I mean is that besides Mercury going into retrograde on the 30th of January, it goes into the pre-shadow period on January 15th. Besides that, everything else is pretty much in its sign. Now, if it's tough in its sign, it is what it is, but it's not a lot of stuff changing. Like what we had December 21st, which was, you know, the great conjunction. You had that conjunction with the Saturn and Jupiter, and then you also had the winter solstice, and then you had the Star of Bethlehem, and then you had all this other stuff going on, and a lot of things changing, you know, Saturn going into Aquarius, just so many things, Jupiter going into Aquarius. There was so much stuff going on at that time. That's not necessarily what's happening now. The Mercury in retrograde is going to be difficult. because it relates to the way that we communicate, or honestly not communication, but the systems that are used, whether that is vocal, because Mercury rules Virgo, which is the analytical, the plan, the process, and Gemini, which is the communication, the connecting the dots. So that's a little wonky because typically it just means introspection. But jumping back into this, if there's any messages, ancestor work, or anything that we should pay attention to, we receive it. Okay. Here's the first card you have. I was gonna say, here's the first star you have. Let's see. It says, empathetic starseed, energetic sovereignty, absorbing what's not yours. Huh. Interesting. So basically this is saying or reminding you, when you bring that Libra energy into you, make sure you are not absorbing things that do not belong to you. So you need to be mindful of the people that you hang out around. You know, as they always say, you are the company you keep. I've heard people also say that you are the summation of the 5 people that you keep closest to you. So that means something. So you need to be around people. They don't have to think everything the same as you, but they need to be positive. They need to have, you know, adequate self-care practice, whatever that is for them, adequate mental health support, mental health awareness, and just generally doing, living kind of like life in the best way they could, and have a growth mentality of like, you know what? If I want to aspire to something, I open myself up and do that. Your next card is star bathing, light body, crystal grid, transmission, and activation. So this is actually really interesting because they say specifically for women, if you can get an unobstructed view to the moon, well, let's explain it like this. The moon cycle is the menstrual cycle. So when you're in a yoga asana practice, you do sun salutation, boop, 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 right? You're doing the primary series 1, you're doing, you know, stuff like that. And then you go Surya Namaskar. That's what I was trying to say in the moment. And so you go and you do that. That's sun. But there's also moon salutations. There's also a moon flow too, which is much more lower to the ground, much more hip involved, much more of these draining of the lymph nodes than the kind of the power of a Surya Namaskar A. And I say all of that to say is that this is saying star bathing. If you sit out, specifically a woman, and also a person of any gender can do this. If you sit out in the sun, you can start to connect with the energy. Specifically, it is the type of light that your body is interpreting from the moon that starts to get your cycle in flow with the actual moon. So you have to be out in the moonlight in an unobstructed view, and just make that a part of your practice and see how that starts to go. Also, I've heard people monitoring when they start to dim their lights to match the moon. So, you know, we have all of these high bright electronics and stuff. You can see things crystal clear, but that kind of fucks up our head because we don't really know what time it is to sleep. There's a lot of insomnia. I know I'm constantly trying to woo people to bed. And so one thing to do is that it's to follow when the moon goes down. So wherever you live, when the moon starts to go down, start to bring the volume or the lights in your house down, and that will better prepare you with your ability to sleep. Overall, this is just great for your mental health awareness, because as you are going after these things you want, you don't want to be up in the middle of the night just feeling like cracked out and just being like, oh, I don't know what to do, or I just can't go to sleep or something like that. No, just really be responsible. Cancer, opposite of Capricorn, you know, the sign of the mother. Capricorn is the sign of the father, of just taking care of your body, your temple. We also have Cosmic Heart, which is devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. This is exactly what we were just talking about. I said you can will something to you all day, but if you don't start putting action and pulling things into your life, it is pointless. you have to make your life a living prayer. You have to take those actual physical actions. So as you start today, you'll feel that energy, but then as you go into that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're gonna have to start taking actions, and that's what really makes it happen. And then double mission, which is light worker, starseed, serve the world by being you. So this is what I'm talking about. So specifically, the beginning of the week is definitely important of understanding what the universe is trying to send you, or send all of us, and funneling that mission down into how you can do it through your actual life. So that's pretty much what's coming up with our moon cycle this week, our moon phase. Let me know what came up for you as you have an opportunity to go through the week and come back and comment. You can comment before, you can comment when you come back, because it's very important that you share your experience, because you never know, by sharing your journey, you could be healing someone, you could find validation, community, a sense of understanding. So that's so important. I hope you all like this. I definitely think that the moon is so important because it changes so much, and it's always has some spicy stuff. Ciao. Always some spicy stuff going on. So thank you for taking this moment to watch the first moon phase, moon cycle reading at Array Tarot. Cannot wait to see you next time. Check out those pick a cards, got those too. And if you don't see me here, you'll definitely see me on Reiki Healing Hope. Jet Lachey, also go by Jessica on Reiki Healing Hope. I will see you then.